up to speed, up to speed, up to speed.
Live from the apocalypse, more important than a Cracker Barrel biscuit, this is State of the Game. I am your host, Dano. My co-host every week is Kay Diggy. And because of the hundreds and hundreds of episodes we've done together, I feel I owe Kay a great service, which I'm about to prepay.
Okay.
I'm about to make us rich, Kay. I'm writing a script as we speak. You're starring in the movie.
Okay. Ooh, all right.
You go to the big city, right? But you get mugged.
Oh no.
Got the gun on you, and you talk him down. You say, hey, you know, you like, don't freak out. You seem nervous. Let me take you to a restaurant. Let me to talk to you about what's making you nervous. I'll try to help you out. Right? You befriend the stick-up kid, right? Get them sorted out. They become an outstanding member of society. You know, like a NBA YouTube influencer, like a Jesser, maybe. Um, and the hook is, I'm the stick-up kid. You're the outstanding citizen, and it's a reverse blindside.
Like Lou Will. Is that what happened to Lou Will? Lou Williams?
Did he do a reverse blindside?
No, I think he actually, like, it's funny because what you described, I think literally happened. Someone tried to rob Lou Williams, and he ended up talking them down and literally taking him to a restaurant. Did you know that?
No. I made that shit okay. This really happened to Lou Williams?
Yeah.
Where's this movie, bro? Where's this movie?
Oh man, that's eerie. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened to Lou Will.
Lou Williams, open invitation, State of the Game. Talk about this, please. So we are here, Kay, every week. Thank you very much for being here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm very happy. Like, this is someone, we have a guest just dropped a project called Otherwise a Blur with August Fanon. Fanon is such a great person. Let me listen to it. I was just struck by it, and I left this voice note. I don't even know what I said, Kay. I was just struck, you know? And then on the Call of Culture Discord chat, blackchai said something, and Alaska said, "Is this Year Wandering blackchai?" And I was like, I've got to learn more. I've got to learn more. I did the back research. And when I heard Feed the Land, I was like, I got to have this person on. We got to do this. So I am so excited. This person has done everything we talk about artists needing to do. If you're going to be prolific within the scope of the year, you're going to have to tell a story somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And blackchai's 2024 is a story. And I wanted to unpack that today. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. What up?
What's going on? So yeah, we're very exciting. Man, and I was so excited to hear on Otherwise a Blur Mega from Secret House Against.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck. When I was like making it, I just like inherently was just like, this would be a cool, intro to pull. And like we've like talked, so I was like, yeah, he'd definitely be okay with it. And then we had him do the liners and everything.
Yeah. No, because he is such a good advocate for your music, right? Like, we will sometimes on the RMPP Discord, we'll go into live chats and start talking about your music, and he explains it really well in terms of what's going on with it. And so yeah, it makes me happy when people are out there being advocates for other people's music. Um, so because that's the only way shit grows, you know. Um, yeah. So thank you for this. What Talk to me about when you were making Otherwise a Blur, were you conscious that you wanted there to be a thread through from Year Wandering to Otherwise a Blur?
Um, Consciously, probably not. I mean, cause so like I made Otherwise a Blur, and like 90% of it I made over the span of like maybe 2.5 weeks. Like so I put out Year Wandering like March, and me and August had already like been homies for a minute. I met him like that previous summer. And then when I put that out, I guess he listened to it and was like, "Yo, like I'm gonna send, like we should do something together." So he sent me all like a bunch of beats and everything. And like I think between like then and May of this year, I did like maybe two joints. I think I did Impermanence and Suit Tie and Halo. And those were like kind of I just made those with like within the context of just like isolated making songs, not really towards anything. And I like in my head was like, like if I'm gonna do an album with August, like I want it to be like a really like I was just thinking too hard about it basically, and like psyching myself out a little bit.
Yeah.
So like I didn't really do shit over the whole summer. Like I was just sitting with the beats and I would pull them up and not really come up with anything and just do like shit. Like I would just do a bunch of features for other people and like some other shit that I'm working on. But then like in August, like the month of August, I was going through some health shit, so I was out of work for like a couple weeks, like 2.5 weeks, and I'd also been like not writing anything just because that was like kind of weighing on me and like I didn't really feel inspired to do anything. And then one night I just randomly, after listening to music at like midnight, I wrote two of the verses on the album in like an hour and a half, which
Mhm.
I've never done before. Like I write really slow. I could probably count on one hand the amount of times I've written a whole verse in one sitting. You know what I mean? So I was like, I should do something with this. And initially, it was just going to be like an EP because I already had two joints, and then I just made two joints. So I was like one or two more songs, and it'll be good. And then I just kind of kept going and shit, and it just started taking form more. Like he was still sending beats because August just sends out beat packs to like a list of people like multiple times a week. Like he makes so many, and then sometimes he'll just send some straight to you and shit. And like we text a lot, so he'll send some in there and shit. But like, so eventually I ended up with the songs that are on the album, and like the whole process of it was so smooth. Like everything was just like I was making like a song a day, like just recording. I decided to mix the whole thing myself. 98 Preem did the artwork. All the features were just my friends. Like I made the whole thing for $0. Um, and yeah, like the sound effects I put in, the sound clips, August thought of like half of them. I thought of like half of them. He did all these beat switches after I recorded. Like everything just came together like so effortlessly. And I mean, if there was any conscious through line, it was probably just like Year Wandering, I would say unlocked the door, and then Otherwise a Blur kind of just kicked it straight in terms of just like being an art, just whatever. Um, but yeah, I guess the conscious through line was like, all right, I did Year Wandering and that got really good reception. And I feel like through the process of making that, I became very comfortable like recording and just like processing my thoughts through music and shit like that and just making music. So I guess it was just like, all right, this is what I can do. So I'm just gonna make every song like the best song I can make. And that was really what I wanted it to be. Like I just wanted it to be like a tape of just like really hard raps.
Mhm.
And like there's content in all the songs, but I was just really trying to just like make it just like I was listening to like Dollar Menu a lot, like the Mock Comedy joints. So it was kind of in the spirit of that. But the takeaways I'm getting from like you and like Mega and a bunch of people, like you guys are pulling out like so much like concentrated, just like paragraphs of like thought and meaning from like a single bar, which is
Yeah.
crazy to me, like in like the coolest way.
Yeah. No, it's there.
What makes it crazy?
Oh, uh, your audio's low, okay?
Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
What makes it crazy to you? That I mean, that's an interesting.
Well, I mean like crazy in like a positive
Yeah.
connotation, but like I mean just like I don't know, there's always that like nugget of self-doubt. It's like, am I really doing anything significant? Like who am I to like make, just shit like that. So
Mm.
like, it's just I guess I'm just still not over the spectacle of like actually being good at something through like effort and hard work and having people like actually connect with it. Like when people like quote my lyrics and shit, I'm like really? Like I thought of something and people give a shit about it. Like that'll never not be crazy to me.
It's yeah, no, it's you got to think about it, Kay. As an artist, you spend so much of your life with nobody caring that you're an artist. Nobody,
Mm.
you know? Like you it's hard to convince people to like connect and give it a shot, you know what I mean? And when they do, it's not their type shit, you know? And so you spend so much time in this kind of padded cell alone with your work.
Yeah.
So, like, having a bunch of people being like, I've thought about what you said on song five, and it means a lot. Like, that's a different experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So I can see that as the change. The other thing that I liked, just wanted to say, like, my wife was laughing at me all week during this research period because I was just freebasing black chai, but I was humming the loops. Like you're such a good beat picker that I
Uh-huh.
was just the the melody of these beats I was just like hypnotized with. Um and there's just so many just great examples yeah of the last two songs on You're Wandering, Shape of Water, especially, you know, just the Philistines uh track is
Hmm.
crazy with that. I mean it's they're just sounds that get stuck in your head. You have a really good ear for that. What do you look for when you're pulling a beat, when you're looking for that?
Um, I mean, really, it's just like, in terms of like how it sounds, I guess really just like I definitely am pulled more towards like more like cinematic type instruments like strings and like shit like that. Um, but I mean, really, I don't really discriminate too much. It's just like if I hear it and I think I can rap over it. But really, what's more of a factor is just like what like what kind of rapping the beat really entails. I guess like I don't really know how to put it. It's just like I just hear it and I'm just like I can definitely rap like this on this song. And I mean like there definitely is like kind of a constant and just like like they're all samples. They're like 99% of the time like loops. Um yeah, I mean like it's just really the sound of like the shit that I'm into. Like if it's something that sounds like Ghostface in like 2001 would rap over it, I'll probably rap over it.
So it's like the you're just looking for something that fits the mood of what you're going to talk about.
Um, I mean, I usually the beat will tell me what is going to happen when I start writing. You know what I mean? Like the beat kind of informs how you're gonna rap on it, and then that kind of turns into what you're rapping about, at least for me. Um, and I mean, like I go through like phases of like looking for different kind of beats. Like otherwise a blur, I think I picked like mostly pretty jazzy beats aside from a few where that were like kind of like weird. Like that was pretty much what I was just in the mood to like rap on like jazz samples and then just like weird shit, like slightly experimental shit or just like anything that sounds like this. That's actually a good. I look for a lot of like dissonant sounds in beats. Like when I started making music, I was pretty much into just like a calm, like melancholy soul loop. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I feel like as I've advanced as like an artist and a writer, I've definitely like kind of advanced the kind of beats I'm looking for, but it's still kind of always just going to be like attached to the foundation of whatever that is. But just there'll just be more things going on or just more like non-traditional like structure to it. Like that's at least that's where I'm at right now. Kind of what I look for.
That makes sense. And it's like the I just totally understood the evolution of what you did when I dug into your catalog because I was listening to Time and a Place and Momentary Lapse, and I was like, oh, this is the rapping your ass off phase, right? Like this is where
Yeah.
you got your people with you and you're like, I can spit. Like I'm gonna show you I can spit. Um and killed that. And then you go to the next phase, and now you're telling your story, you know? And that's where I think year wandering comes into play, you know?
uh yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Specifically time and a place, I I would that was my phase of like still trying to like sound like rappers that I like
Right.
instead of like like I was listening to Cuban Links like every single day making that. I'm sure you can tell because it's like all the audio samples I think are just like Raekwon and Ghostface talking and shit.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like I'm using a bunch of like that kind of like slang and like shit like that. I'm pretty sure there's like I use the word wallaby on like every song. But like yeah, and then I'd say like Momentary Lapse was like me kind of starting to get into my own thing, and that just kind of hit like a certain point with Year Wandering. Yeah, like definitely the way you put it, I would fully agree with.
That's awesome. Yeah. Did you hear that, Kay? Where the development over the projects you heard?
Hear what specifically?
Like the advancement, the development that he's talking about over the projects that you heard.
So the two projects, yeah. I mean, I think the second project, the one with Fanon,
Yep.
was there were slight glimpses into who you were as a person, more so than Year Wandering.
I'd see. That's interesting. I kind of had the opposite reaction that otherwise a blur was
Mhm.
about the world and year wandering was about him.
Maybe it was the beats then. I felt like the let me get the otherwise a blur. Let me get the title correct. I felt like that was more it was more personal.
That's interesting. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you could take it either way
Mhm.
with either project. I mean, Year Wandering was more deliberately in that direction, but otherwise a blur. There definitely is stuff on there that relates to that, and I feel like also just I'm a better writer writing otherwise a blur than I was making You're Wandering. So maybe I was just able to just kind of
Right.
translate things like that without really expecting to or thinking too hard about it, just through, just casual growth, shit like that.
Mm.
That's awesome. No, it's
Yeah, but oh no, I was just gonna say, all the titles also kind of lend towards them all kind of being none of them are, none of them are like concept albums. They're all kind of about myself at certain points of my life, I
Hmm.
guess. But yeah.
I mean, and maybe it was also the cover. Like, I love the cover for Otherwise a Blur,
oh, it's great.
and I think that
Mhm.
kind of maybe that's kind of why I got it because it looks like to me. Well, yeah, I won't say what I think it is, but I mean it seems very like personal to me. Very what's the word? Like you're reminiscent. You're reminiscing in
Yeah,
some senses. In some
that's
sense.
interesting.
That's awesome.
Or yeah, I fuck with that.
Yeah, no, the way it's an image kind of blurred with the nostalgia of memory.
Nostalgia, that's the word. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I think that's cool. I thought about that. Um, yeah, no, I love it all. Um, so I have a theory on Black Chai's writing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to dump it if everybody's ready.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let's go. So
yeah,
it is partially inspired by these conversations with Mega, like where he talks about how you're you're giving us fragments that kind of sew together. Um, and it's you're definitely a non-linear writer, you know, uh, with where these images are together and bouncing off each other. What I was thinking of that as like because there's a lot of non-linear writers out here now. It's like a big it's ever since Nutmeg, right? Like it's been a thing.
yeah,
Um, but the I would say sometimes you get a non-linear writer who's spitting in fragments, but the fragments don't mean much. And so it it ends up kind of being like a weak smoothie. You're like,
yeah,
this is a strawberry blah smoothie. I don't need this, you know? Um, you your smoothies pops like there's stuff in. Um, and I wanted to highlight that even these fragments are there's so much to unpack. Just you talked about impermanence. I pulled lots of stuff from impermanence. Um, we never lacking where it matters. Methodology elastic. That's like that's a very short bar, but it's kind of everything you're talking about in otherwise a blur.
yeah. I'd agree.
You know, the that the world is against you in so many ways. The industry is untrustworthy. Politicians are untrustworthy, right? The structures are untrustworthy. So yeah, our methodology is going to be elastic, but we're solid when we need to be. You know, we're not. Yeah, so there's that. Like found love on the outskirts. The shit's pertinent, otherwise a blur. Associated for permanence. Um, which one aware for the day shift? Fuck a plain image. It's all part of the game. Pain in the dark is the arrangement. Pain in the dark is the arrangement. So that's okay. There, I highlighted these to say that I don't know what all of this stuff means,
Uh-huh.
but I'm excited to 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 read it more and think about it.
Or
Before we started this thing we're doing right now, me and Kay would go on break.
Mhm.
at work, and I would tell Kay, I don't, I don't think I like poems I understand on the first read.
Mhm.
If I can understand the poem right away, I don't think I'm going to go back to it. I like coming back to it and seeing more each time.
Uh-huh.
And there's a way to do that, and I think your writing does that, where it reveals itself. The pieces come together the more you listen and pay attention.
Mm.
Uh, yeah. No, I I agree.
So that's my theory. Hey, how does that square with your listening experience?
That's interesting. I don't know. I'm gonna have to digest that a little bit, like because Black Chai. I mean, speaking with Black Chai this evening,
Yep.
it's interesting, like because he mentioned, like he mentioned earlier about how it's like crazy to him how people can extrapolate so much from each like line that he says. So it's like I'm just kind of juxtaposing like the two, like your breakdown, the breakdown you just did, and then like his attitude towards his writing, and it's very interesting to me.
Well, it's hard to own.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one's gonna stand up here and be like, my shit is deep, Like, most people are not into that. But like, to give you another example, Dissonant Strains, it's only like a minute and 37 seconds. Well behind the aperture, bask in the black light. Seen the past turn tidal waves. These are like wildly specific words that to use, right? Aperture, black light, like used in very specific ways, in very specific forms, uh, and they have to mean stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what yet, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I will say, uh, the uh, the way I write is definitely like, yeah, super scattered because that's honestly just how my brain kind of functions with like information and processing it. But it's just like definitely comes from just like because I'm so short attention span and just kind of scatterbrain. I feel like I take in a lot of things from a lot of different shit, and it's just kind of all, especially when you like, I'm in like when you kind of hit that flow state, like any art form kind of has that. Um, the shit just kind of comes out, and a lot of the time you don't even really think too hard about the meaning until it's actually, like tangibly like written down, and you're like
Mm-hmm.
maybe even not until after you've like recorded it or some shit like that. A lot of it too is just like saying really basic shit. I mean, not basic, but just like just shit that's just like, oh, I observed how people act in real life, and I'm just gonna say this, but I'm just gonna try and say it in like a cool way or like an interesting way, or just because that's kind of how I learned to rap. Because I learned to rap listening to like the Juggernauts and like Ghostface and like Doom and shit like that. So I was
Mm-hmm.
always kind of in the fashion of like using like big words like that, and just like anything I do stylistically, I just have kind of just kind of developed it to the point where it's not like bloated. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all necessarily there instead of just like, being lyrical miraculously, whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Going too far in the cannabis direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I hear you. That's an interesting thing because that Juggernauts, you know, Ragu, Ray and Ghost like era, you know, I guess Cannibal Ox would be in that mix too. Um, would be it's
Definitely.
like the real high level world building through language, you know, uh, using phrases that no one used, scream Phoenix and things like that to like make make a different flavor altogether,
Mm.
you know.
It's
So it makes,
interesting.
yeah, it makes sense. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to ask, were there any of the songs of the two projects, Year Wandering and Otherwise a Blur, were there any of the songs that like when you listen to them back for the first time, you were like really amazed at what you had just created?
Um, yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, like immediately after, or like after having some time away from it and going back.
I
Ooh,
get
both.
like because it seems like because it's interesting. From what I gathered from what you just said is like when you're creating songs, you're kind of in just like you're in the flow, so you're going where
Yeah,
the inspiration takes you. So you're not really necessarily consciously recognizing what you're creating. So I guess the
yeah,
question would be like, do you ever like go back or like when you listen to the final completed project, do you ever be like, damn, like wow, like that I'm that's pretty great or pretty clever what I just made.
yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, definitely. Like Shape of Water, the last song, Year Wandering,
Ooh.
definitely. Um, Fucking just like even the way that one's structured,
Mm-hmm.
like that's one where I feel like I was like fully come to like if I were to like show someone my music and be like this is what it is, I'd probably show them like that or something. Um, yeah, like Circles and One Way, Off You're Wandering, the last bonus track, All for the Win, like all the basically all the ones I wrote pretty fast.
Mm.
Because it's either that or it's like I'll be writing a verse or a song or whatever for maybe like I mean also just have to do with just like having to like work a job and shit and like not having a lot of time that I want to, if I have like 3 hours to myself a day, I don't want to sit there and just like try and write a thing when I'm tired, but like
Mm-hmm.
it'll be like a couple days sometimes, anywhere from, what like the one sitting to like 2 to 3 days or something like that. So like if I'm sitting with it more, I'm kind of like it's kind of, making more of an impression on me because I'm just going over it and over it over an extended period. So
Mm-hmm.
by the time it's done, I might even just be tired of it. But if it's something where I wrote really fast, like Dissonant Strains or like the last song on Otherwise a Blur or the other ones I named off Year Wandering, then those ones definitely stick with me more. And I'm like, wow, like this is really fucking crazy. I mean, like I was listening to Otherwise Blur so many times while making it and just not getting tired of it and just constantly being like, this is crazy. Like, yeah, I'm really happy with that one. So
Mm-hmm.
like that definitely, yeah, I definitely experienced that quite a lot. Even with like older shit that like I don't really go back to. Like there's a few things where I'm just like, whoa, like that's really cool. Like I was saying something.
Well, and see, so you said that you don't really you it goes, you write it, um, you kind of follow what's going on, and then after it's written and you're reading it over, you might realize what it's about or some meanings in it. What was the biggest jump for you from like, oh shit, I didn't know it meant that, but I think I wrote a song about that.
Um, Probably I don't know. I want to say probably one of the songs on You're Wandering. I mean, there's even a couple songs on there that like I did have like a deliberate reason for writing it, And like even if I don't stretch that through the whole thing, I kind of just like, every other thing is kind of like within the same vibe of whatever the initial thought was. But yeah, I think just with Year Wandering, maybe even in general, there are some things where I was just like, oh, I just wrote this verse and I go back to it. I'm like, wow, this all kind of makes sense. Like shape, like again, I'd probably say like Shape of Water
Mm,
or One Way or what is it? Fucking Bog in Town.
mm, Bog and Town.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah, it's great. The
Oh.
so to get into Year Wandering, it was it was funny because I was like, this is one of the most New York people. Like it's so like this is so classic New York. And I was like, do you know who else like is one of those people that I'm just like, this is the essence of New York, Sice Greeny, and he's on You're Wandering, and I'm like, this is great. I'm getting all the New York I could hope for.
Yeah. I mean, he helped me make it. He was a
He's-
big part in helping me make the whole album. Um, him and Noah, A Haunted House, they're like the two main people who helped me make that. Because Noah did like most of the beats.
Right.
Um, and also him and 98 Preem and me pretty much made the whole cover for that. Like Noah physically made the collage and then took a picture of it and everything, and we were just like giving input and changing shit around. But like Greeny mixed the whole thing. Like I made the whole thing at his crib, like physically, basically. Um, yeah, and like we just spent like 3 months just like chilling and like recording and mixing the album and shit. So like obviously he had to be on it too. That's the homie.
Sure. No, he's great. He releases great music, so I was excited to have him. The yeah, there was like with the and the thread through both projects, the the whenever 98 Preem comes through, there's just like you can feel the joy you two have rapping with each other.
Hmm.
Um, and so if the song before is heavy, you have that song, you have a song like Vamp Low coming next. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have fun. This is gonna be awesome. Um,
Yeah.
it breaks things up really nice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the sequencing on both projects I think are really good. I really fuck with the way the albums flow, especially You're Wandering, because there's more songs on it, even though they're about the same length, but you
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's good. The Kay, did you have any runs on your wandering that you were into?
Year Wandering. I liked the middle. I liked Vamp Low, Flyover, Impel Down, and Circles.
Oh man.
I thought
Right.
the Vamp Low was really uh that was really a standout track for me.
Right. Yeah. No, that one's great.
Yeah.
Like the beat is actually by Riley, who I was telling you about before. We
Oh, okay.
uh we first started this. Yeah, Riley Lamar. He did the beat
Yeah.
on that.
Okay.
I was gonna say I probably go feed the land all the way to Shape of Water.
Where both
That closing,
both great choices.
yeah, that closing is intense. It's beautiful and Haunted House just really killed it. Um, no, it's all throughout. It's just a really spacious production. It's just you're right, classic jazzy thing. It makes it very emotive, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah, like the jazz soundtrack to a movie, you know. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Hmm.
good. So I yeah, Year Wandering is beautiful. Um, yeah, it's got a lot of stuff in it. Would Kay, when you heard You're Wandering, because the flow changes too. Like this is not just, you know, a shift in the beat choices, right? From jazzy to jagged. It's also a flow that goes along with the jagged beats, where it's a little more cutting, a little more intense. Um,
Hmm.
were you surprised going from You're Wandering to Otherwise a Blur, or where did you start?
I mean, surprise. I wouldn't say surprised. Uh, we've interviewed August Fanon, so we know his talents.
Right.
And we know, like what I've gathered from just talking to him, how much he really loves music and how much he loves and values the relationships of the artists that he works with. So I knew that. I mean, obviously I saw that he does production on it, so I knew that he would have a what's the word? How do I want to explain it? Like Dano, you and I always talk about how a good producer gives you their interpretation of the artist that they're working with.
Sure.
Uh,
Sure.
so I knew August Fanon would be able to give a good interpretation of Black Chai and you know create beats that really brought out some of the best qualities of him. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's um and we gotta spend some time talking about Fanon, but
yeah.
I don't know. I listened to Otherwise a Blur first, and then when I backtracked, I was like, there's no other albums that sound like Otherwise a Blur in the catalog.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like really excited about that. Like, wow, this is really unique. This is someone who's really hitting a different place, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And in 2024 has given us two albums that sound very different, but very unified, in their journey. Um, and that's what drew me into how special this is. Yeah. So yeah, has anybody told you that, Black Chai, that this is like not like anything you've done before, or were you confident?
Um, Maybe. I mean, I don't think anyone said that specifically. I mean, I feel like I was maybe, I guess, aware of that, but like never didn't really sit and like really ruminate on it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I definitely intended for it to be very different sonically, but no, no one's told me that. I don't think.
I hear you. Yeah. Um, it's yeah, it's a heck of a thing. The thing about Fanon that I think is so crazy because when I first heard Fanon and was sitting with people who worked with Fanon, I was like, "You must have handcrafted these for you," and they're like, "Nah, it's just a beat folder you pick out of the beat folder." Um, and now listening to Fanon's beats for a while, I've come to the conclusion that I think he makes amazing beats, but he makes great beats that make the song before it and after it sound better.
Hmm.
I don't know how he does that, but like that song, if you drop a Phenom beat in the middle, it's connective tissue now, and it makes the other songs around it better. And so if you pick three Phenom songs out, you've got to run there because they
Yeah.
they're some producers make like hits, Scott Storch single type stuff, right?
Yeah.
Fanon's the opposite. He makes album cuts,
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, definitely.
which is why that Mac Hami stuff sounds the way it sounds when Fanon was involved. You know, does that track for you in your experience through the beat folders?
Um, yes. Yeah, definitely. Because so most of the beats on the album are from two like giant like when he first sent me beats, I think it was over 100 beats, and I probably whittled it down to like 30 or 40, which was like a several day long process.
Right.
Uh, but and yeah, and yeah, those two folders I think he originally put together to send to like Ka and Kill a Priest,
Mm.
but through whatever reason, they either I don't remember if they didn't like need beats or if he just didn't end up sending them. But so that's what most of it is from. And then like a few songs on there, like maybe two or three are from just like the beat folders he sent. But for like the reason the beats are like that, I just have never met anyone before in my life who like loves music as much as he does.
Yeah.
Like he just, just very inherently understands it. That's pretty much all he does in his free time. Like he's just always making music and beats and like listening to music too. Like just someone who just very much is in love with just every aspect of listening to and consuming and absorbing and creating music. So like all that just kind of just comes from like having an inherent understanding plus just like the accumulated skills to be able to pull it off.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like, just he's like a jazz dude. Like he is just like crazy innovative and just all that.
I'm glad you said the jazz thing because like the great jazz performers kind of gave you a piece of their soul and their craft and their intelligence whenever they were working. And that's how it feels listening to a Fanon beat, right? Like you're you can feel how thoughtful Fanon is about this whatever he's talking about or whatever's going on. You can feel the kind of the soul in there of the intention of what he loves about the music um in just every beat, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
Did you and Fanon, did you guys have any discussions about, the intention or direction of the project?
Um, as far as content,
Hmm.
no, but I mean, I would say it was definitely a collaborative effort. Like, I was just making a song. I would send him a song anytime I finished one and like have like a demo or some shit.
Hmm.
And he would just be like, this is dope, cool, let's go. Um, just because, like he's a fan of my music and I've been a fan of his music. So
Hmm.
it just really comes from that. But like we definitely collaborated on like the sequencing. Like I said before, he did a bunch of like beat switches after I made the songs and shit. All the samples that are like leftist, like radical speakers or like,
right.
just like shit like that. And then the Simpsons one were all him. All the anime stuff is me. Um, he got he got Giannis Jonas on War Rations. Like that was his idea. Yeah, so we definitely and he got Marcus Pin too to do the scratches on the first song.
And
Yeah, so like all that it was I would definitely say it was 50-50 in terms of just like the whole pack. And then plus like putting together like the rollout and release and all that. Like yeah, definitely just bouncing all those ideas off each other.
who started the audio sampling thing? Was he doing that first in the beats, or did you bring that to the table? Who kicked that off? Was there a little
Um
back and forth? How did that work?
I did first, and then also all the like static cuts. That was also me.
Yeah.
I like started doing that a while ago, but like not for every song.
Mhm.
And then with this, it just kind of turned into just like I'm just gonna do that, and it kind of morphed in that direction where like all the samples that I put in, I kind of wanted to sound like commercials and or like cut, just break it up like that. And then all the other ones, like he was just following suit basically, but everything just fit like, seamlessly.
That's awesome. No, it's Fanon's always been great at finding these really wild samples, these really, wild audio samples. So finding a kindred spirit is nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely good. Yeah. So what is it? Talk to me about the reaction to both projects. Is this much more of a reaction than Year Wandering got, or how does it go?
Oh yeah. No, it was definitely a much bigger reaction. I would say in terms of like positive feedback, it's about the same. I haven't really gotten any like negative or like at least overwhelmingly negative feedback on really anything, which is, whatever. That's cool, I guess. But no, this this definitely got like the widest amount, and like I like no doubt due to like making it with one of the best producers
Yeah.
of like the past decade. But like it's cool because like people are like a lot of people tapped in because of his connections to it, and then I would say became fans of mine through that. Like you said before, what Alaska said. Like I never would have thought Alaska would like my music. Like
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean? Like or like I heard like Breeze Bruin, like hearing shit from him or like just people I respect and shit, you know what I mean? Like that's not something I would imagine. Even just being on here right now, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. But like Year Wandering was definitely like up to that point was like a big jump from the reactions I would get from the other shit. Like that one, like I said before, is like was like a big shift in like how, it just like kind of helped put me in like a better perspective of myself
Mm.
as like an artist. Like I was just like, all right, I can like this is an extension of myself and it's getting me somewhere. Like it was probably the first time where I just felt like, oh, like this is, this has some merit. Like everything I put out obviously thought I had merit, but like, like it just became much more tangible, I guess. I would
Yeah.
put it like that.
And what it sounds like is that before Otherwise a Blur, you were making music with your people, right? Like you were making music with 98 Preem, with Noah, with Sice Greeny, like you were just putting your stuff together, putting your stuff out and hanging out with your people, and that was what it was. And now Fanon's a name kind of on a different scale. And so now it's a new set of eyes on you and the team, and that's got to be just a different experience, out of the shell.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And I mean, like, we're also friends, so like the process of it wasn't any different, at
Right.
least how it felt. But the reality of it, I guess, definitely, yeah, lends to that.
Mm.
Yeah. That's one thing about Fanon that is so wild is that Fanon's not one of those like s- social climber cats. Like he's not trying to
Hmm.
get to West Side Gun. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's not his deal. So he's like, you're on this beat folder list with like Young Morpheus and Elucid and all these people. Um, and whoever wants the beat gets the beat, like it's just a different way of doing it. Egalitarian.
Mm.
yeah.
It's awesome. So yeah, it's But yeah, this is a different level of visibility. Uh, you've definitely told your story. What is it from here? What are you doing from here?
I mean, I have some more stuff that's probably gonna come out for the end of the year, but it's stuff that I've been working on before. Um, like some collaborations, like me and Cy Screeny started working on something like a little after You're Wandering. Me and 98 Preem, uh, we're like Vamp Low. Since we did that song, we were like, well, like let's do like a thing like called Vamp Low. So that could be out this year. It's depending on how life goes. And then me and uh Elohim from he was on Impel Down and You're Wandering. We made pretty much a whole album at the same time I was making You're Wandering. And that's been finished, like all the making the music, but we're still like finishing up all the rest of the shit. Just, life gets in the way of shit, but that will probably be out this year too. But then aside from that, me and August are still making stuff. Um, I definitely don't want to slow down at all. So, I'm just gonna keep making music, making probably do some smaller projects in between like the next long album, or I might just spontaneously make another whole album. It could go any way, but more music and definitely more shit for otherwise a blur. Like we still have the tapes coming, and some other stuff. But yeah, just music.
Music.
How do you maintain that creative energy? Like, how do you keep that flowing?
Um, I mean, inherently, I feel less like myself when I'm not actively working on something. So I try to always have at least one thing, even if I'm not doing it every single day. I like to at least be like, all right, this is what I need to finish. Um, but I mean, it's like I'll go through period like weeks where like I don't really make shit, but I always find like no matter how stressful that period gets, at the end of it, like, it always ends. And it's like some of the best things I've ever done have come after not really touching making music for like 2 or 3 weeks. Like somehow you just get better, like after not making music for what. And it's like, life informed shit. Like sometimes you're just burnt out. You don't have shit to talk about,
But
even if you want to be. But I mean, this is also just what I want to do with my life. So it's like I still feel very passionate about it. And it's like now it's really just getting started. Like, so it's like I definitely don't want to, like, I want to see where this goes and I just want to keep making music. Like, it's the main thing I've cultivated for myself in my adult life. So, it's what I want to do.
So following up on that, you said something really important, I think earlier I wanted to talk about where you said you write really slowly and it can take you a while to get a song done. I feel like there's a pressure now to be kind of ever ready, ever productive, pumping out songs. Um, can you give some advice to people on writing songs slow and giving yourself the intellectual space to write slow? Like,
Um,
how does that work?
yeah, I mean, sometimes, I mean, some people can write really fast and prolifically and put a lot of thought into it and edit their shit. But I feel like most people are not really on that wave, and a lot of people might just force themselves to be.
Right.
But I'll sit anytime I'll go to Greenie's, he will no doubt write a whole verse in like an hour, not even sitting down writing. Like he'll go back and forth to the kitchen, just writing it in his head, and then he's like, and writes it on his phone or his computer or whatever. But like, just having the time to think about what you're making or just like kind of recite it over and over as you're going, just really feeling it out, how it makes you feel. Editing, which is important, and just, just being able to sit with something like there should be no pressure for making something. Like you shouldn't feel like you have to pump stuff out. Um, that definitely is kind of like the vibe just because of how shit has been coming out like the past like 5, 6 years.
Yep.
And I definitely myself will feel that pressure. And like I feel like I've been putting music out pretty consistently for like the past like year and a half, 2 years, but none of that was planned out, to be honest. Like other than Year Wandering being like a year's worth of encapsulation of making songs, everything else was just like, oh shit, like I have all this music and it kind of sounds like it goes together. So let me take this idea and turn it into something. And like that, the creative process for that is always different. But like, I don't know, you just don't want to rush anything, and you definitely want to be able to sit with things.
Right.
Um, and it's like if that's not the kind of person you are, that's one thing, but like, most people I feel can probably relate to needing some time to really understand what's going on.
Yeah, it's weird. You not only have to find the speed at which you're comfortable writing, but then you kind of have to challenge that on occasion.
Yeah.
And you have to like push yourself into different areas to make sure that you're not missing a different way to do it. That could be cool too. Like, yeah, growth and development. It's crazy. So, yeah, I'm with you. Um, Kay, do you have anything else?
No, no, man.
Ooh. Recommendation corner. We were talking about this a little bit before you logged in, about stuff we're listening to. Let's see. Let me lead off here. I mean, I must have told you, Kay, my son has this kind of running joke that he's been making fun of me about Blue all year.
The rapper Blue.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
He's because Blue has been so prolific this year that he's just basically been, my son's been like, it's Friday, I'll bet there's a new Blue album. And there was. Love the Ominous World, with in parentheses. Uh Blue and Exile. Oh man. I mean, it's a beautiful album. And Exile is a really unique property that I don't think people talk about enough. Um, Exile's got some shit that I love. That Fashawn album, that Black Beans album. That well, he's got a pretty impressive catalog at this point, um, and should start to be talked about in terms of all time importance, especially when you factor in all the work that Blue's done with Exile. Um, and this is a beautiful project. Jazzy. Blue is very sincere. It's real dope. Uh, the other one I would go with is Autopilot by Illogic. Dug into that. Got the
Mm,
CD in the mail. I got a signed poster, Kay. I don't think I
all
even
right.
that. I had a signed poster. Um, but yeah, it's a banger. And there's a song called Canvas with Blueprint and Form a Guest Superstition. 2 out of 3 on that song, guests on the show. Superstition cleans the fuck up at the end. Crazy verse. You know what he says to end the song, Kay?
What?
He says, and I'll always stand behind these bars like Larry Hoover.
Mm.
Crazy. Crazy. Superstition's crazy. Um, love that dude. Uh, but yeah, so like, that's just some great rapping stuff that I've been into. Um, yeah, talked about the Lufrianya. There's there's other stuff coming out, but it's not. I don't think it's there yet or whatever. Oh, there's a new Tuxedo album coming out, buddy. Tuxedo 4. Mayor Hawthorne and Jake One. They have this kind of funk thing they do together. It's a lot of
Hmm.
fun. Yeah, I kid friendly music in the car. I rock out with. Yeah, Tuxedo's dope. I love Tuxedo. If you love old school funk, Tuxedo's really good. Um, yeah, so I'm excited for that album coming out. When is that coming out? Let's take a look at the date. November 1st. November 1st. So that'll be cool. Those are my three. Black Chai, what are you bumping?
Like stuff that came out recently or just in
Just
general.
anything's open for you. Anything's good.
So like I said before, Carrot Season.
Yep.
Carrot Season is great. Lungs and Feek are two of the best rappers in New York. Super cool, super nice guys.
Very nice people.
Everyone on that album is a very nice person. Uh,
That's very
okay.
good. I like.
Yeah. Yeah. Shouts out Dan, shouts out Grip. Uh,
I love how
I've been listening.
not to step on you. I love how Homeboy Sandman totally rejects the speed they rap at on his feature. Like
Yeah,
they're rapping, they're doing their thing, and then it goes to Homeboy Sandman, and he's like, "Nope, I'm moving at Homeboy Sandman speed. I'm not worried about any of that." It was very cool meeting the worlds. I'm always interested in how that's going to work out. That was a really cool moment. Oh, what else you got?
um, uh, the Service Merchandise album that
Ooh,
came out this year.
so fun.
That album is great.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's really, really good. It's really fun. Fucking Video Dave is crazy.
Yep.
Fucking Open Mike Eagle
Uh,
is crazy.
yep.
Everyone,
The
yeah,
Rift. Yeah. I think that album to me, you can feel how much they love being around each other, how much they
yeah,
love like doing it was you can feel the fun they're having, you know.
yeah. And Rift has some of the like Rift on White Hand is so like that might be one of my favorite verses I've heard this year.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Like just I mean like they like go back and forth with pretty much everyone he does. But and then third, I really love the band Mannequin Pussy.
Oh,
They're yeah, they're from Philly. They're like, yeah, no, they're crazy. They're one of my favorite. They put out an album this year. I think it might have been the same day I put out Year Wandering actually. But no, they're great. They're great. I love them. I listen to them a bunch. They're probably my favorite like active band right now.
oh, cool.
Yeah, but yeah, just super super heavy punk. And then as their albums progress, it kind of gets a little more, I don't want to say like poppy, but just like they start writing like more, just, I don't know, just like the songs become kind of cleaner and more well structured, but they don't lose any of the like edge or energy or anything. Like, yeah, it's just really cool. And, you know, female fronted bands are always, at least I
Yep.
think they're usually better.
So what would if you had to recommend one Mannequin Pussy album, which would it be?
Patience,
Which one?
patience.
Patience.
Yeah. Um, it came when did it come out? It came out in I want to say 2016. Yeah. 2019. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it came out in 2019. But I think it was like their first really big album. Like a lot of their hits are from it. They're, relatively big hits. But that's the first album of theirs I heard too. So like maybe I'm biased, but I think that one has like the best mixture of their newer sound with like their pre-label sound or like their like kind of making it sound where it was just very loud, aggressive punk music. Yeah, definitely check that one out. Or just any of their albums. That one I would say
Put
if
it
you're
on.
gonna listen to them.
I gotta jump in. Hey, are you into Mannequin Pussy?
I'm kind of taken aback at that question. I'm gonna have to check the band out. Yeah. So
I, I
They have a
guess.
really hard time getting coverage in media and shit because of their name.
Yeah, I believe
And
it.
some venues won't even put them on the marquee.
yeah. But that's a bold choice. I'm glad that they're sticking by it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's commendable.
Commendable.
definitely.
Yeah, there's not a lot of New York mixtape rappers that had to change their names when they went from mixtapes to major labels.
Mhm.
Right.
Had to take the murder out, had to take all that stuff out, and you know, I'm shout out to Mannequin Pussy for standing by their values. My favorite band in the world, rock band in the world, is Shannon and the Clams. We mentioned it last episode.
Mhm.
I have a Shannon and Clams hat on the way. Very excited about that. Um, okay. So what are you bumping, Kay?
So I just got into Raphael Sadiq Instant Vintage.
Oh, it's good. I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
So that's my new
I
listen
dig
for
it.
the week.
Yeah, Sadiq had a whole different vibe. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
great stuff.
Brilliant. Some brilliant moments on the
Absolutely.
the project.
Yeah, I'll always rock with Sadiq. The yeah, I've started watching that Chaos show on Netflix. I'm in.
Chaos. Okay.
Yeah,
What's that
Kaos.
about?
Yeah, it's about the Greek gods. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's good. The yeah, it's pretty
It's live action.
yeah, the casting's pretty crazy. Um, yeah, it's it's wild. Who Jeff Goldblum is Zeus.
Okay. For
Oh
that's
gosh.
I guess
Okay.
yeah,
Now,
that kind
now
of
I'm
fits.
intrigued.
Well, and so to keep you going, you remember the dude in Training Day who put the shotgun in his mouth in the tub?
Yeah.
That dude is Poseidon.
Great.
It's awesome.
No, that's fine. I might check that out. Yeah.
It's wild. It's fun. Friend of mine recommended it. The kind of taking these stories, these myths, and shifting them a little bit, and making it interesting. So I applaud that. Um,
Is it like is it like accurate to how fucked up like they were?
well, they lean into that. Like they actually go further with
Oh
like
yeah.
because what they'll do is they'll take the myth and they'll put context behind the myth as like that actually happened because of how fucked up all this stuff is. And so it really does build on the rot of that structure. Yeah. No, it's good. It's good.
No, that
I
sounds
dig it.
dope.
I dig it. We needed a third show to round out what we were doing. We're watching Only Murders in the Building and Bad Monkey, and we kind of needed a third. Uh,
Uh-huh.
Monkey on Apple is great. Um, but yeah, we that was our third. It's a good deal. Good deal, okay. So yeah. Um, yeah. Thank you, Black Chai, for being on. This has been
Mhm.
awesome.
Of
Uh,
course. Thank
wish
you
you
for
all the
having
success.
again.
Stay with your people, stay with your friends. Um, you know, as our former guest Hype said, build build laterally, right?
Mhm.
Hopefully you all win together. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
that's awesome. And um everybody follow Kay on OnlyFans, first month free.
What will tomorrow bring? What will tomorrow.